I'm hyped to be here. And today, I want you to think first about the last interaction you had, either at work or at home, and not the biggest meeting, just a ordinary conversation. And maybe it was a quick catch up, maybe it was an exchange in the hallway, maybe even a message thread. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. Did that person feel better or worse after speaking with you? Most people have never asked themselves that question seriously and honestly. And so we spend enormous time and energy thinking about how we perform. What's our output, our results, and our presence? But very few people, very few leaders ask themselves and stop themselves to ask, what is the consistent effect that I, as an individual or as a leader, have on the people around me? Not occasionally, but habitually. Because here's what separates leaders who really plateau from those who keep rising. And it's rarely skill set, it's rarely even track record, but it is really the feeling people get from being around them. And today, we're going into one of the most underused ideas in high performance leadership, in human characteristics, honestly. Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale called it the impression of increase, which is the key to success. That's what they called it. And I call it kind of the hidden multiplier of your influence. So here's something that cuts across every culture, every organization, every industry, every seniority level. Every person you will ever work with, lead or report to or mentor to or with, is operating from the same fundamental drive, a human drive. They want to feel that they are advancing, that they are increasing. And not just getting paid, not just that. A lot of people don't even care about that so much, but not just being managed, but advancing. And Wallace D. Bottles wrote about this over a century ago, and he said that the desire for increase is inherent in all nature. In all nature. And so it is the fundamental impulse of human beings to want more, to grow more, to do more, to be more. And you see it everywhere, in every field you go into. Runners want to run faster. Sales professionals want to close bigger deals or more deals. Leaders want their teams grow beyond them. And baby naturally wants to learn to walk, learn to start speaking. Naturally they want to do that. And this is not ambition, it is in the competitive state or the sense of it, but it's something more foundational. It is the really natural human orientation towards more contribution, more capability, more meaning, more purpose, more fulfillment. And now here's the kind of the leadership insight that most people miss. The leaders who become really magnetic in their character are the ones who actively, very actively, feed that drive in other people, right? Zig Ziglar, I believe, said that if you want to get anything, give it to that person. That very same thing, or help them get that thing. And every interaction either adds to that feeling in another person or it doesn't. That's the whole game. And so here's the question for you. Think of one person in your career or if you're in your home It could be a manager, it could be a mentor, a colleague who consistently left you feeling more capable after every interaction. Every interaction. Undoubtable. Drop their first name or their role in the comments, or even better, tag them in the comments if you want to really recognize them. I want to shape and see who really shaped this room here. Are you watching this live or a recording? I want to see who shaped these people who show up here. Write it in the comments. And so I want to be very specific about what this really means in practice, because it is not about being positive, it's not about being nice, although they are good things, and they're important things. It's about creating and embodying a deliberate habit. A habit, a specific way of showing up that communicates, I see more in you that you may currently see in yourself. And this is what it looks like at a senior level. You're in an important meeting. Someone, maybe junior from you, puts forward an idea that is kind of half-baked idea. And most people in the room, including senior leaders, either ignore it or politely dismiss it. And so the leader who really operates at this level does something different. They find a small insight, a small nugget in that idea, and they name it. They name it out loud. And that is not flattery. That is a precise leadership skill, the ability to see capability before it is fully expressed, and then reflect it back to them. And what it could look like in a one-on-one conversation is you finish a conversation with a direct reward or a peer, and you ask yourself honestly, did they walk away with more clarity or more confusion? Did they leave feeling seen or just heard? There's a difference. Or did the conversation add to their confidence? Or did it actually chip something away? Did it lift them up? And most leaders are not doing damage deliberately. They're not. But they are operating on an autopilot. And our autopilot at senior level is rarely neutral. And so, what is the critical distinction between giving and trading? There's a distinction here that is really sharp, and it is really worth sitting with. If you have to think about whether you should give or not, you're probably trading. This is what trading looks like. I will invest into this person because they report to me and it helps my goal and my success. Or I will praise this colleague because I need their cooperation in the next quarter. Or I will mentor this person because it reflects well on my leadership, brand, or reputation. None of that is wrong, but it is transactional. It is positional. And it becomes the default mode of how you engage with people, regardless of what you expect back. And that is when it starts really compounding. And so here's the, and why this compounds is a really good question, because this is the influence mechanism. And here's the mechanism. And I want you to be precise about it because it's not soft. It's not soft at all. Emerson described the law of cause and effect as the law of laws. And what you consistently put into your environment is what shapes your environment. And there is no exception to this at any leadership level. When you habitually leave people with a feeling that they are more capable, more valued, more appreciated, more loved, more clear about their direction, something very specific happens over time. One, your reputation compounds without effort. People don't remember what you said in most meetings. They don't. But they remember how they felt when they were in the room with you. And over months and years, that feeling becomes your professional identity. Your self-image is how you see yourself and how people see you. And that identity travels faster than any resume or LinkedIn profile. Number two is your access expands. Leaders who consistently make others feel good and better about themselves get invited into different rooms. Not because they campaign for it, because people want to be around them. And number three, your team's ceiling rises. And there is a strong evidence from psychological safety research that people perform significantly closer to their actual capability when they feel genuinely seen by the leader. Not managed, not assessed, seen. And there was Edmondson's research at Harvard found that the single strongest predictor of team performance was whether team members felt safe to bring their full capability without fear of diminishment. So the leaders who create environment are doing exactly what we are describing here today. When I was preparing for this event today, I remembered one of my very early and one of the first books I ever read on personal development was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And honestly, the whole book is about this topic. The whole book talks about how to leave everyone better off than you found them. And it was simply talking about how to influence people by your attitude, by you having a great attitude, by you attentively and intentionally listening, by you giving those subtle but intentional compliments on other people and leaving others better off than you found them. So number four here, it flows back to you, but not always from where you think it would, not always from where you sent it. And this is the part that surprises most people. The person you give, whatever you give, may never be able or willing to give back to you. Your return does not come from them. It comes through the cumulative effect of who you are becoming as you practice this habit. Your paycheck or your salary or income does not come from your company. It comes through the company. The company is merely the vessel for you to receive that. And the same principle applies to your influence. And so here's a challenge for you. Where in your current role or responsibility do you have the most opportunity to practice this habit? Is it with your team? Is it with your peers? Is it with your superiors? Drop the level in the comments. What is it? Be honest with it. And so if this is so valuable, why is it that most senior professionals do not do it consistently? And the honest answer is paradigm. At the most senior levels, most of us were rewarded for being sharp, for being decisive, for having the answer faster than others, for demonstrating capability, not drawing it out of others. And that paradigm is what got you to the level you are. But it is often exactly what limits you for where you are. And the behaviors that earned you the promotion or reputation can become the behaviors that also cap your influence. Because if you look at past your certain level, your results are almost entirely a function of the results of others. If you're in the place of leading others. And your ability to draw out, develop, and multiply the capability of the people around you is really what makes the difference. And that requires fundamentally different orientation. I want you to think about it this way, that negative energy, dismissiveness, or subtle dismissment is rarely deliberate. It is a paradigm running on autopilot. And you don't really decide to make someone feel smarter in a meeting. It actually happens because a habitual pattern is running without conscious oversight. A habitual habit. And so the shift is not complicated, but it is deliberate. And it requires you to decide consciously that this is how you want to operate. This is how you want to operate. And here's how you build this as an actual habit, not just intention. First step, I want you to pick 3 people this week. Not your whole team, 3 people. 1 in your team, 1 peer, and 1 that is more, let's say, above you, or let's say in a higher leadership position than you are. Decide in advance that every single interaction with those 3 people will leave them with more than you found them. Step number 2, find what they are doing well and name it specifically. Not general praise, specific observation. And the difference between is this, like, good work on that presentation. No. A really good example is the way you frame this risks section, for example, in this presentation. The senior team could see exactly where the focus is. That was sharp thinking. Thank you for that. That's really good, right? Specificity is what makes it land, because it proves you were actually paying attention. And step number 3 is end every conversation with a question that opens up something. Not a task question, a thinking question. For example, what is the part of this problem that is still open for you? Or where do you think the real leverage is here? Or what would you do differently if you had more room to move? You see, these questions signal that you believe the other person has something worth hearing. And that signal matters more than just most leaders actually realize. So I want you to really take these 3 questions with you. Do not answer them here. Sit with them this week until our next stand-up leadership session next Wednesday for yourself. Number 1 question for you. Who in the world are you most consistently leaving with more? And do they know it? Do they know it? Second question is, who are you most likely leaving with less? Not because you intended to, but because of habit. And be kind to yourself. Number 3 is, what would you change in your influence? And what would change in your influence, your team, and your trajectory if you made this a non-negotiable habit, part of how you operate and how you communicate with people? And like I said, Bob Proctor called this the #1 key to success. #1. Now, number 2. Not because it's the easiest thing, but because it is the thing that almost no one does consistently at the level it really deserves. And the leaders who really do, they do not just rise, they become the kind of person that others want to build with, that is worth becoming, that others want to follow. So if this lesson today landed something for you, I want you to share some key takeaways in the comments, because it can be valuable to others as well. And if someone came to mind during this conversation, or even if you're looking at the recording, someone you want to live with more this week, tag them below so they can get access to this as well. And one person you will practice with this week, name their role in the comments, hold yourself publicly accountable. I appreciate you all for being here. Until next time, stand up, lead yourself first, and make the people around you better, simply because you were around them. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.